A warm welcome to yet another edition of the Red and Blue Review Crystal Palace podcast with me, Ian Noble, hosting again this evening. Indeed, I am the only one who's kept my place from last week's panel selection. Making way are Nick, Gel and Paul to allow for a welcome return for Ireland's finest, Fergus Tid, my away day buddy Yasmin Broom and the FAB Tim Richards. First up, hello Yasmin, how are you today?
I'm all right, thanks Ian. Just about recovered from yesterday.
Did you get home from Euston all right?
Yeah, but there were trespassers on the line going to Sutton as well, so we got delayed again.
That's all you need, isn't it? And Avanti just about managed to catch up a bit of time, so we didn't get a refund, or did we get a refund? I can't remember now how it works.
It's put in a claim, so...
Yeah, there we go. Hello, Ferg. You all right, mate? Long time?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you, Ian. Yeah, like Yaz, just getting over the loss yesterday. Very disappointing after the start, but...
Well, we're not used to losing away from home, are we? But there we are. And hello, Tim.
No.
Good evening to you, fella.
Good evening. Yeah, not too bad. Nice to see everyone.
Right. So good evening, everyone. And good evening if you're joining us in the chat. Tonight, of course, we'll look back at yesterday's game away at ManCity. We'll discuss semi-final ticketing, look at Loan Watch, and, of course, the usual predictions that we have on this show. Tim will keep an eye on the chat for us, so please do add your comments, and we'll try and involve as many people as possible throughout the next hour. Do please like and share our content across social media, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel, which does really help us, especially if you're new to watching the podcast. I was really pleased yesterday. I don't know if he's watching, but there's a guy called Mark Edmonds out there, Palace fan. I was at school with him, and I bumped into him for the first time in 40-odd years on the concourse at ManCity away yesterday, which was great. So evening, Mark, if you're watching. Let's put our waveform into some kind of context, guys, can we? Some kind of perspective. We've been undefeated on the road in the Premier League since game week 8 back in mid-October. The away day run had to end, I think, at some point, didn't it? I think we'd agree with that. And at the home of the current champions, it looked for half an hour at least that the glorious sequence of away results would continue. But it all came crashing in around us, which we'll come to in a little bit. We're going to get straight to the game. We look at the lineup first of all, of course. Nigel's got that for us. And there we go. This is how we lined up in yellow in Manchester yesterday. Dean Henderson in goal, of course. Munoz and Mitchell were the wing-backs. Richards, Lacroix and Lerma across the back. Wharton and Kamada in the middle. Sarr, Eze and Mateta up top. So, any surprises in that lineup for you, Yaz?
Yeah. So one of the main ones was Kamada instead of Hughesy, who was on the bench. The way Hughes has been playing, you would have put him in all the time. This is not Kamada bashing. You just would have had him in. And the other one was Dino as captain, because he hasn't been before. And usually it's someone, in defence or midfield. So, yeah, that was the two surprises for me.
Yeah, of course. And we knew that Mark Gahey would be missing through a one-game suspension following his sending off last Saturday. So it's a timely return from injury for Chris Richards. Good to see him back, with Lerma continuing as a makeshift centre-back. And otherwise, of course, the starting 11 was unchanged. But, yeah, I think the captaincy to Dean Henderson was an unusual one, He's in a Jordan Pickford there, being captain of his club side. Were you surprised to see that, Tim?
Yeah. I was a couple of things surprised me with the team yesterday, but in some ways I can understand it. I mean, Lacroix would have been a good captain, but he didn't train all week, so that may be why not. Definitely would have had Hughes or the Irish youngster instead of Kamada, but yeah, apart from that, it was pretty much as I expected.
Yeah, good. Okay, Tim. Well, Fergus, you didn't travel to Manchester with us. You got your Sky Blue on tonight, Crystal Palace Sky Blue on. Where did you watch it, mate?
I watched it at home.
Oh, did you? You didn't get to the pub then?
Yeah.
No one was up for that?
No, I asked. Everyone was doing their own thing. Yeah. So I think most of you guys were up there. So
yeah.
And I watched it at home on my own.
Fair enough. Okay, so over to you, my friend. Take us through the. Let's spend some time talking about the first half now first, because that's the best bit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, obviously, the first key point. The game started well. City had lots of possession, and you're thinking, okay, this is the plan. Keep it. Don't concede any goals early on. Keep the first 20 minutes like 0-0. But as a boosty bonus, we go and score after 8 minutes. Etithad. Fantastic finish. Ismail Sarr down the right, crosses it all the way across the face of the goal, and a simple tap in for Eze. We're 1-0 up. I'm jumping around in the front room, gone out the back garden, celebrating.
Kick the dog.
Yeah, brilliant start. It was pleasant surprise really against the champions.
We couldn't see in the way in who had scored, could we? We knew Sarr had got the assist because you had Sarr in your fantasy team. So I said to you, got a Sarr assist there, but we didn't know who scored it, did we, at first?
No, we had to wait till it flashed through on our phones for us to know, because you couldn't hear the announcements either that they made. Yeah,
I think when they were patting him on the back, I thought that was the giveaway for me when he was walking back. But yeah, so Tim, a good goal for you, I guess. You celebrated as well.
Oh, it was a brilliant goal. I mean, it was great play all round. It's kind of what teams did to us under Hodgson for many years. And again, it's the age-old comment. If that had been a goal the other way round, it would have been wax lyrical about. It was just a perfect goal from start to finish, really.
Yeah, it was good. Very good goal, wasn't it? And I think it was the Munoz assisted the assister, didn't he? Put it down the flank for Sarr and whipped it across. And it was just in front of Mateta. He might have got a touch to it, but as Fergus said, a simple tap in for Etithad on the far post on 8 minutes for 1-0. So far, so good.
Yeah, and we'll probably cover it off a little bit later, but we looked really dangerous down the flanks, especially Munoz, in those early stages of the game. And the second goal that we scored came from a corner. Brilliant cross from Walton, and Richards out jumps everybody completely unmarked, and a straightforward header. And you're pinching yourself then, you're like, hang on a minute. 21 minutes gone, we're 2-0 up away against the champions. Fantastic goal.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, dreamland.
Yeah, it was fantastic, but we've been there before. And it was deja vu yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we'll talk more about the other goals later, of course, but yes, deja vu from that time in whenever it was, we lost 4-2. Was it 3 years ago?
I think it was maybe 2 years ago, but especially when what happened next happened, because a similar thing happened that time. And I started thinking, oh no.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, wasn't it? Yeah, indeed. But yeah, 2-0. I think Edison is totally culpable for that second goal. I mean, we shouldn't be scoring that second goal, should we? I mean, we've been good from set pieces, having gone so long without scoring a goal from a set piece, like eons.
That was our 14th for the season.
Yeah, but Edison, he should do better there, shouldn't he? If Henderson does that in our 6-yard box, you're furious, aren't you?
Yeah.
Here we go. Third.
So again, 2-0 up, pinch himself, and then 28 minutes. Munoz again puts Eze through. Very, very cool finish. All celebrating. We're thinking we're 3-0 up.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, this is the first time this semi-automated offside has been used, and we've gone down in history now as being the first team having a goal disallowed using the semi-automated system. I know we spoke about it before the show, and you guys, you can come in and tell me what you think, but that picture, when you're watching it on the TV, they didn't show that until much later on in the game. They didn't draw any lines out. And I'm sure there was another person along that line that could have been playing him on. So, and I'm sure he probably was offside, but it would have helped if both Manchester City defenders were in that picture, so you could get a clear view that, because it was inches,
It was inches. It was very much inches. Tim.
Oh, he was definitely offside, but I think the bigger question is, should he have been offside? I mean, there was no excuse to be offside from that. I mean, he could look along the line, nice, and he's got the pace. He could have done it. So I think he was offside. It's such a shame because it was a great move again. I just think he didn't need to go quite as quickly. That for me is the biggest thing.
Yeah, you like to think he'll learn from it, and he's already got one, hasn't he? And I think if it is 3-0, is it a different game? Does it pan out differently? Little nod of the head there, Yasmin.
Well, I think so, because I thought that with the other game where there's a similar thing happened, I just thought it would have knocked their confidence, and I think what it looked like to me was that we sort of went down a bit after that. Of course, we did. But they had the psychological advantage over us, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And the psychological advantage played a big part. Mark Callaghan, thanks for your comment. I'm not going to read it out aloud, but thank you for your comment. It did make me chuckle. It's made Yasmin laugh as well. We're all laughing.
You should read it out.
Okay, I'll read it out. It says, first time in history, having a semi, it wasn't a good thing, but there we are. Good stuff. Right, okay, moving on swiftly.
Right, so, the goal's disallowed. Disappointment, but we're still 2-0 up and playing well.
Hang on.
And
hang
then
on. I'm going to interrupt you there. Time out. Playing well. Yes, we were. You missed out one piece of action before the third goal, actually. And that was De Bruyne hitting the post.
Yes, yeah.
Came close, didn't they? To be fair, they were knocking on the door a bit, weren't they? Even before they got the third one. So you're right. They had more than just that chance. I think they had, they were playing well. They had lots of possession. They looked dangerous. And the thing is, the formation, and we'll come to that because Glasner obviously felt like he needed to change it. But they had 6 midfielders on their City. They were overloaded in midfield, and ultimately that was a downfall because, and they're world-class players as well. And I think that was the reason Glasner made his changes, because we were overloading midfield, but it clearly didn't work. But going back to that, there was the De Bruyne chance, and then you had I'm not a Kamada basher. He was man of the match probably last week against Brighton, but he lost his head a little bit with that tackle. There was the guy was going across goal. There was no need to do what he did, and unfortunately, he concedes a free kick. And it's the perfect position, isn't it, for someone like De Bruyne, centre of the goal. I don't know what you guys think about the tackle. Let's bring Tim in here.
Yeah, just going to bring in some comments just as you get onto Kamada from the chat, if that's all right. Yeah. First one, Paul Bristow. It's not easy to calculate a 90-degree line across the pitch when you're running, Tim. You're right, Paul, but it's really easy when you're right by a defender and you can see if you're just half a pace back, you're not going to be offside. So we'll agree to disagree on that. Interesting you mentioned Kamada, because there's already quite a bit of chat about him in the chat. Paul Holden, you can't blame Cammy. We sat back second half, although City kept pressing. Rob Campfield, you can for the first 3, gave stupid foul, didn't pick up a player and fell on his arse. He's like his backside. Apologies. Yeah. So there is quite a bit of chat about it and various other things as well. But it was very disappointing, that goal going in.
I think it's one of those that he doesn't have to make the challenge. He's got other players around him. Sometimes when you make a challenge and it's a foul, you see they've got to make that challenge, take one for the team or whatever you want to call it. But he didn't have to make that challenge, and it is a really nice position. I thought Henderson set his wall up, covering the left-hand side of the goal, and I think he thought the ball was going to go over the wall, and he would have to cover the left-hand side himself. And I think he was a bit wrong-footed, wasn't he? And he didn't even move. I know it went in off the post, but he didn't even move, Henderson, did he? Should he have saved it? Someone said he should have saved that 65% of the time, I read somewhere. Would you agree with that comment? Anyone?
Well, I was going to come on to that, because everyone was obviously having a go at Kamada for the free kick. But could you say that Henderson was maybe at fault because it was on his side of the goal. You know, when you see that ball when it hits the post, he's a yard, maybe 2 yards away from it. But the free kick was such a quality free kick. You know, low and hard and in off the post.
You can see there he's wrong-footed, isn't he? He's wrong-footed.
Yeah, you've just got to give De Bruyne the credit there. Really, it was a quality free kick.
You're probably right. You're probably right, but yeah. So he's hit the post with one. He's hit the post with another one, but and one of them goes in. So there are 2-1.
I think that also we saw that Glasner was telling him to do what he had done with the wall. So I think they were not expecting that somehow, which is why he was wrong-footed as well. But I do think he could possibly have got it.
Yeah. I think he would look at that and thinking, you know, another day I'd like to think I could make a better effort at saving it. But there we are. Okay. So we're 2-1, Ferg.
Yeah, and obviously the momentum's then with them. It's interesting because when they were 2-0 down, certainly on the TV, you couldn't hear the crowd. They were giving Pep a load of stick, you know, behind his dugout. And obviously later on when they equalised, he's giving it the old cup in his ears because I think he was a bit, peed off with the way the Man City fans were. But literally 3 minutes later, Omar Mamouche equalises for Manchester City. McAtee, now I know we tried to get this kid on loan, but he looks really good. He was involved in a lot of the game, and it was his chip to the back post, and it was headed back. I don't know who the guy in the middle was. Man City midfielder took a swing at it and missed it, but Mamouche was there to finish it off. Yeah, Gwanda, that's it. Yeah,
Gwanda. Did you realise that Maxence Lacroix played in the same Wolfsburg team as Mamouche? They knew each other well, apparently.
I think Glasner managed him as well.
Yeah,
at
he
some
did.
point.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Why didn't we sign Mamouche? We knew him. Why didn't we sign him?
Well, he said it was money, didn't he? But he got asked that question, and he said, "Well, how much did Manchester City pay for him?"
Yeah, exactly.
So,
there we go. We'll come to Manchester City's multi-million-pound purchases when we talk about the substitutions in the second half. But there we are. So you know, when we're in the ground, as we're going at 2-2, we're sort of thinking, we just want to get to half time now, don't we? You know, let's not concede again. And De Bruyne nearly did make it through before the break, didn't he, Fergus?
Yeah, he smashed it straight over the bar, didn't he? He leant back. You'd expect somebody like De Bruyne to score that. You're fearing the worst, but thankfully.
It actually came towards us. I had to duck out of the way. It was ferocious. It really was. Rosette we were in as well, by the way. And I'm not joking, we were in Rosette. So,
really? What about?
Yeah. So
then we managed, like you said, we managed to get to half time. 2-2. But I think by then, I don't know how you felt in the ground, Ian and Yas, but I was fearing the worst for the second half because I've seen City do this to so many times. You know, once they've got 1 or 2, then it's like, well, how many are they going to get? 4 or 5 or and we just didn't look like we were going to respond. And I guess the next important thing to talk about was the substitution at half time. I don't know what you guys thought. Hughes coming on for Mateta. Now, Hughes is a great player. You know, like people were saying earlier in the chat, maybe Hughes over Kamada might have been a better choice. But Hughes for Mateta, confusing one. At first thought it was an injury, but turns out it wasn't. It was tactical. So I'll pause there and let you guys.
Yeah, I think the FPL community thought it was an injury and upset a lot of people with their FPL teams. Mateta going off after 45 minutes, but it wasn't. It was tactical. Glasner later admitted that he got it wrong, and he sort of admitted as much. But I think you touched on it, Fergus, already. We were sort of getting overrun in midfield a little bit towards the end of the first half.
Yeah.
I think that's what he was trying to correct. But clearly it didn't work. We didn't have that focal point. I don't think we had a shot on target in the second half, did we? We
lost that ability down the channels because Sarr was then central. He had his back to goal, and we didn't have any outlet. And Sar's a better player when he's got the ball at his feet and he's running at goal. When he's got his back to goal, it's difficult. And he's not an out-and-out striker, so he's not a Mateta where he can hold the ball up, bring the other players in. It
surprised us, didn't it? In the ground, it really surprised us when we saw that substitution.
It did, because we were trying to work out first who's gone off and kept saying, "No, this person, that person." But I mean, I can kind of understand why Glasner did it, but it didn't work. And I think that was the thing that we thought. If this was the team we had with Roy, we wouldn't have tried to, it would have been a different thing where he's not afraid to try things. And also what he showed was he's not afraid to take the responsibility when it goes wrong as well. And I think we will have that while he's experimenting. But didn't he say to Pep that if he does that system, we'll work out how to tackle it for the final if we're in it.
I love that comment. I absolutely love that comment. In fact, he said to Pep, if you play that way again, we'll beat you because we'll work out how to do it. And that is clever. Either just psychology, or whether he will.
Do you think he would have changed it if Nketiah had been
good question
to play?
Good
because
question.
that wouldn't have needed a change of formation, would it? It would have just been because Mateta had 5 touches in the first half, so he wasn't involved a lot. But I think his presence causes just as much turmoil as being on the ball. So but
I didn't know that. Only 5 touches. I didn't know that. That's not enough. I think what Glasner's done, he's looked at that. He's thinking Jean-Philippe Mateta is not playing very well. He's not contributing enough to this football team in this half. And I can't let that continue. Therefore, I've got to make a change. But I think you make a very interesting point that had Eddie Nketiah been available and been in the squad, he may well have been that replacement. And therefore, he wouldn't have had to change his system. Tim, any got a view on that?
Quite possibly. I think what is refreshing is having a manager that is capable of making those changes. All right, it didn't work, but it didn't affect the outcome of the game. So it's good that he's tried it. He's got experience. I mean, don't forget, this is a manager and coaching staff that have taken a team that couldn't score from corners or set pieces to probably the top in the league in less than a season. So I think he's got on him for trying it. I mean, why not? It also, I think, shows that our squad isn't as deep as it really needs to be in quality. We missed Gahey yesterday. Lacroix didn't train all week. Richards has just come back from an injury. Yes, we've got a couple of other players out on long-term injury, but it just shows it only takes us to be missing a couple of the top players, and it makes a difference.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, go on, Fred.
Sorry, but I think there needs to be a little bit of realism here. We're playing Manchester City, the champions, away from home. Mateta's not going to have a lot of the ball. We're not going to have a lot of possession. If we've only got 20-25% possession, Mateta's not going to get too much of the ball, is he? So, I think, and he admitted he got it wrong. But I think when Mateta didn't come out for the second half, Pep Guardiola must have been rubbing his hands with glee because he just must have thought that's another headache gone. I
mean, also, just we all need to think, bar a couple of inches and saw, 6 inches lower, we could have been 4-0 up before they got a goal. So, I mean, it's perspective, and it's just like all those things you've got to think about.
Woulda, shoulda, coulda, eh? Yeah. Who knows? But we didn't. 2-2 it is at half time. They come out the second half really up for it. Match of the Day made the point that Manchester City were very different in the second half. They had more intensity. They pressed really high. And they forced errors out of Crystal Palace back line. We're trying to play it from the back, and we lost the ball so many times. And whereas last week no one knew what they were doing at the back last week, and they were just getting bodies in the way. This week it looked like we didn't really know what we were doing. We weren't getting bodies in the way, and there were people that were leaving gaps. And I think this is where their goals came from. Fergus, you're probably going to come on to this.
You're absolutely right. I mean, the half-time team talk. Obviously, Mateta's off and Hughes is on, and he's trying to shore up that midfield. But 2 minutes before Manchester City scored, and then you start, the tactics not working, then you're thinking, right, Glasner, what have you done here? Because you're right, they just seem to overrun us in midfield for pretty much the whole of the second half. But yeah, so who was it? It was Kovacic, wasn't it?
He had loads of space, didn't he?
Again, it was McAtee again, I think, with the chip, and it come across the goal, and then it's headed. And was it De Bruyne passed it back to him?
Yeah.
Had an assist, and he's just squared it straight into the bottom right hand corner. 3-2 down after 2 minutes of second half, and then you're fearing the worst then because all the players looked a little bit shell shocked. Yeah, I don't know what you thought, guys.
We were shell shocked.
You and Yas were there. Yeah,
very much so. Yeah, and then the fourth goal came pretty quickly as well, wasn't it? On 56 minutes, something like that.
56, James McAtee. Yeah, so the youngster. I mean, I don't know who got man of the match. I'm De Bruyne, I'm guessing.
De Bruyne was their man. Yeah.
McAtee would have been not far behind him. And again, this is so it was a direct kick, wasn't it, from Edison? It's his fourth assist of the season. And Henderson's come running out. It was unfortunate, really, although he could have given a penalty away, I guess. But McAtee was too clever for him. Just nicked the ball off of him and slid the ball into an empty net. And it's 4-2. And the commentators on TNT Sports were absolutely, I think they must have been running around the studio celebrating. The commentary was so biased this day. It was unbelievable.
It's so annoying when it happens, isn't it? It's so annoying. It's always the way.
Yeah, do you know what? If we'd have scored that goal from a goal kick, they'd have been went, long ball, typical Palace. But when Edison did it, it was, what an amazing kick. Look at this. It was a good goal. It was a good goal.
Guys, I'm just going to come to David Compion's point in the chat. He said it looked a yard offside. It did look offside, didn't it?
Yeah,
it looked offside. But I think the reason, clearly it wasn't because they got the semi-automated offside. But because the ball came such a long distance, when the ball was kicked, it was clearly in an offside position. But by the time it reached him, he was in a yard offside. He'd moved forward. And also, there were people playing on the far side of the pitch, or the near side of the pitch as we're looking at it. Munoz and maybe Richards were further back than Mitchell and whoever else was on the left.
They didn't show it, though. They didn't show that. They showed our one much later on in the game, the Eze one, but they didn't show the McAtee one.
Okay.
They made the decision pretty quick, actually.
Fergus, where did the substitutions come in? Sorry to cut across you. Where did the substitutions come in? Did they come after that or what? I can't remember.
Right, so the first substitution, that was after. So that McAtee scored on 56, and then he made the first batch of substitutions on 63 minutes. So Klein came on for Lacroix, and Chilwell came on for Mitchell. And although they were kind of straight swaps, you're almost thinking, well, he's given up on the game. He's saving the players for Wednesday. Yeah. Maybe damage limitations, like two players that are fresh coming on the park. But it was disappointing to see. But I get why he was doing it. But so early on in the second half, there's still 25, 30 minutes to play, and it almost like it was sending messages out to say, well, okay, we're conceding this.
But that's what it felt like, didn't it? It felt like the game had gone. It really felt like the game had gone on the hour mark. For me, it did anyway.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Chilwell? I want to talk about Chilwell for a minute. There were a lot of people saying they were surprised that maybe Chilwell didn't get the start up there ahead of Mitchell. Mitchell's played a lot of football. Games come thick and fast. We brought him in to challenge Torrent Mitchell for his place. Anyone think that Chilwell should have got the start? And what did you think of him when he did come on?
I'm not sure he should have got the start. I thought when he came on, maybe we'd go forward a bit more because he's better at that than TM. But then he was a bit disappointing. There was one bit you got really cross with him, Ian, when he'd only just come on and he let the ball go out instead of getting it. And you just thought, well, he's got to try a bit harder than that. He did go forward a few times. crossed it in or whatever more than TM does. But I don't know. I was disappointed with practically everyone yesterday, so it's not a surprise.
Yeah. What's your view on Chilwell, Tim? Are you a Chilwell fan?
I quite like him. I think he should start the Newcastle game. I mean, he's played hardly any football. I mean, we all talk about players needing time and game time. Well, there's a prime example. Like you said, we spent money from Chelsea. For me, now this season, I don't think we're going to get into Europe. It needs to be the FA Cup. So I think play Chilwell, get him some game time, so it's an extra option. Same as Franca. I think Franca should get game time. Look for the FA Cup semi-final. Look for options there. Give them time.
Paul Grant, I'm with you, my friend, on that comment. Mitchell sadly couldn't cross the road yesterday. You're not kidding. The thing about Mitchell, he doesn't even, for me, he doesn't seem to look where he's crossing it. He just kicks it and hopes. That's how it feels anyway. He doesn't seem to connect with anyone. And if he does get a decent cross in, when he has had 1 or 2 assists this season, maybe it's more by luck than judgment. Maybe we're doing him a horrible disservice, but it just feels like that. And
he's a more defensive defender, isn't he? Which is why he played, because we're away at ManCity. Like I said, Chilwell's more. He'd be better when we're playing at home and we're supposed to be the attacking side and on the front foot. But when you're defending against Manchester City, I think Tariq's probably a better choice. But I don't think anyone had a great game yesterday after 20 minutes.
So up against Jacob Murphy at St James's Park on Wednesday night. Would you play Chilwell or Tariq Mitchell at left back?
I'd play Mitchell.
Would you? So would you give Chilwell a start against Bournemouth then?
Yeah, the home games.
Interesting. Okay.
Rest Mitchell for the cup.
Yeah, maybe. Let's move on with the game then. We digress. My fault.
Yeah. So the substitutions, we talked about them, and then 79th minute, Nico O'Reilly, so another youngster from Manchester City. It's a ball come across. He's hit it, slight deflection, but it's gone straight into the bottom corner, 5-2. And then it's like, well, how many more are they going to get? Because there was still 11 minutes to play and 7 minutes of injury time, I think, wasn't there? So
I know. I was sort of fearing the worst. Is it going to be 6, 7? Is that,
Yeah. Well, this is it. I mean, we gave Brighton a lot of stick, with the 7-up gigs and stuff like that when they lost to Forest. And I was thinking, oh my God, don't. And from what I heard, all the Brighton fans were in the ground early, watching it on the big screen yesterday. Yeah, and when we were 2-0 up, it was very quiet, but it was a party atmosphere. Obviously, by the end of the game, they loved
I'm
it.
so pleased for them.
Yeah, I had people messaging me going, "Oh, the atmosphere's brilliant here." Go away.
Dear.
Yeah, so there we go. So 5-2. So I want to talk about the substitutions as well because Tim touched on it earlier about Franca. So Franca came on for Eze in the 80th minute, and Devaney came on for Wharton. Do you think Franca should have come on earlier in the game? Because when he came on, he looked like he wanted the ball. He looked like he wanted, he was really trying. I just think the guy, he probably needs a little bit more time. Like we've seen before with other players, when they get a run in the side, they seem that the confidence grows. And I think Franca's like, he looks like a very, very good player.
Okay.
But giving him 5-10 minutes at the end of every game, he's not going to develop, is he? He's not going to gain that experience. He's not going to gain that confidence.
Okay, Tim was nodding his head.
What do you guys think?
Tim was nodding his head.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's chicken and egg, isn't it? You want to give him more game time, but was that the game to give him time in confidence-wise? But yeah, I think definitely he needs to play. I mean, the poor guy, he's had so many injuries. He's back fit. He's on the bench, so he's obviously fit to play. Give him time. What are we? Like I said, the rest of the season is the FA Cup now. Give him time. Get him game time. Get his confidence going. So it gives you the options in the cup. But I definitely should think he should get more game time.
Okay, we have one Franca fan there. Yasmin, do you want to see more minutes for young Franca?
Well, I know I'm in the minority, but I'm not a particular fan of his, so not really, no. I mean, he does have some bright things. Obviously, he saved us at Southampton, but he put something wide yesterday.
Well, no, I think if you watch it back, he tried to cross it for Sarr.
Oh, okay. I thought he was going.
I thought he did.
Yes.
He did okay with it, actually. I think he tried to get it.
Sarr missed it, didn't he? He was just half a yard too short.
Shame for your
I don't
fancy.
Yes. I decided to make Sarr the captain. Like, I thought I was being really courageous, but it backfired.
You think about in the past, the players, like, you know, we're talking 18 months ago now. Mateta, you know, everyone wanted him sold, and now he's like one of our best players. Hughes was a squad player, and now he's like the first name on the team sheet. These guys got to run inside because somebody else was injured, or, you know, and that opportunity came about. And I'm sure França, given that opportunity, will definitely come good. We don't spend that sort of money on a player if they don't have that sort of potential.
Well, I'd like to see more when it's just so we can sing the Samba song a bit more, but there we are. We shall see. We shall see. In fact, it was Newcastle away last season where I think he played his first game, or maybe first minutes off the bench, or he's in the squad, and we sat with his family, didn't we, Yaz? I don't know if you remember that.
Yes, we did.
They were sitting near us in the away end. So maybe they'll be there again on Wednesday night. We shall see. There was one other chance for Man City. Mamouche had a really big chance on 4-2 before they scored their fifth goal, and it was a brilliant save by Dean Henderson. It really was top draw. And then there was a block for the follow-up chance. And in the end, 5-2, 3-goal deficit. You know, it wasn't too damaging and not too embarrassing, but you know, we were well beaten.
There was the penalty that we didn't get.
And it was in the chat.
Penalty.
Said that, penalty kick for you. Then was this a penalty?
Yeah, well, he handballed it with both hands. He went from one hand to the other hand. It's like he couldn't make it more obvious. And there was no one near him.
So, explain to me, why wasn't that given? Why didn't VAR say to the referee, you need to go and have a look at this, you missed something? Clear and obvious.
Well, I think someone put it in the chat earlier. It's just that checking club badge, isn't it? You know, if that had been 2-2 and that was our player, that would have been a penalty, and Manchester City would have won the game 3-2. That's how it goes. Well, that sounds very cynical from me, but
we were well beaten yesterday, and I think I feel better about being well beaten like that than losing a goal in the last minute to lose 3-2. That would be truly excruciating and hard to take. But we were second best, and in the second half especially. And someone said in the chat earlier as well, you know, if you're going to lose a game, lose that one, you know, and learn from it. And I think one thing Glasner does do, he learns from those mistakes and the poor performances. And he also made the point is on the other time this season where we've shipped 5 goals at home to Arsenal. As a response to that, we went on a pretty good run after that one. So let's hope that we can do the same when we got Mark Gahey back up at Newcastle on Wednesday night, and then obviously into next week as well. Anything else you want to add, Fergus or Tim or Yasmin, to the game yesterday? No.
I just wanted to add that I think we really did miss Mark yesterday.
Yeah.
Also, Eddie, having the option of Eddie to come on also was a big miss. So thankfully it was only one game for each of them. Yeah,
absolutely, because it could have been a whole lot worse. Okay.
The other thing I was going to say about the substitutions was, you know, Klein and Chilwell coming on when you're 4-2 down. It's a bit demoralising anyway. So you know they're not going to play at their peak, are they? It's like, why have you put me on?
Yes, exactly.
So there was a bit of that yesterday as well. Yeah.
There was some kids on the bench as well, weren't there, yesterday? That I didn't really know. I don't think. Let me just have a quick look at the team from yesterday. Kapora was there. There was another lad, wasn't there? Double-barreled name. I haven't got it in front of me. Someone help me out. Doesn't matter. Right, let's move on. Sorry. No, just stick the stats back up again, if you would, just finally then. So we had 32% possession to their 68. And clearly they have more shots than us, more shots on target, and deserve to win the game. You know, we were well beaten at the end of the day. Thanks, Nigel, very much indeed.
Ian.
Sorry?
Ume.
Yeah, that's the boy. That's the boy. Okay, so Glasner's quote at the end of the game, Oliver Glasner said, after the defeat to Manchester City, our defending was not good enough. We made too many mistakes and gave a team like City too many chances. But we will learn from the game. We have to learn. We will analyse it. We will show the players. We will train on it and do better next time. And in Oliver, we trust, don't we? Because that's what you want from your manager. You want those kind of positivity and comments on the back of a defeat. Before we get into talking about the semi-final ticketing, because that is the other big thing we want to talk about this evening, guys, just a quick update on the loan watch. We will start with the goalkeepers. Owen Goodman letting one goal for AFC Wimbledon. They drew 1-1 away at Donny. And we've been there this season, haven't we, Doncaster Rovers? Joe Whitworth letting a single goal for Exeter. They won 2-1 against Bristol Rovers. Danny Imre played in Bromley's 5-0 defeat away at Port Vale. And Jemiah Amulu came off the bench for Vale. Jezrak Saki scored for Sheffield United, put them 1-0 up away at Plymouth. And then once they'd taken him off, they lost 2-1. And it all kicked off, apparently, in that game. Rob Holding was an unused substitute. And Asher Agbione, I can't say his name, Asher Agbione, stayed on the bench for Gillingham. And they won 1-0 against MK Dons. So that's our loan watch. Good luck to those lads for the rest of the season. So the other big news this week off the pitch, of course, has been semi-final ticketing. Semi-final ticketing. I hope everyone in the chat has got a semi-final ticket, those that want one, of course. So what do we think of the semi-final ticketing? I want to ask that sort of question rhetorically at the moment to the panel, but we'll come and get your views in a minute. And I'll be interested to know people's views on it in the chat. What do you think of the ticketing managed by Ticketmaster? Now, Ticketmaster are good at this kind of stuff. It's what they do, all right? That's their job. And they're used to handling huge numbers of tickets for events. So that was in their hands. We've got a view on this from a good friend of the show, somebody who is well used to buying tickets and shall remain nameless. But it's worth emphasising, I think, that this game is Wembley is just a big away match. That's what it is. When you look at the practicalities of ticketing and getting people's tickets to them, that's what it's like. It's like a big allocation for an away game. And the dates and the days of sale matter greatly in the rollout because there is a limited period of time between now and the semi-final. All the tickets are going to be digital. So it needs to be done in an ordered way. Now, I think we'll agree that the qualifying stages were clear. That's the first thing to say. And there have been three phases. The phase one was on the Thursday, and that was for away season ticket holders and season ticket plus holders. Now, we know that there were 250 away season ticket holders for Crystal Palace. We don't know how many season ticket plus holders there are. So they were in phase one. They could buy the tickets on Thursday. In other words, have the first choice of the tickets. The second phase is Friday. That's the remaining season ticket holders and gold members. And that's you, Tim, isn't it? You're a gold member. So you will be in the same bracket as season ticket holders, and you go to a fair few games a season. I know you do. And then on Monday, you've got the third phase, which is all memberships. And it's worth remembering that the biggest phase is the season tickets and gold members. And it isn't just Friday, because those people have been able to buy their tickets online all weekend. It's open 24/7. And of course, it's very quiet now. If you haven't got a ticket and you're a season ticket holder or a gold member and you wanted to go and buy a ticket now, you can go onto the website and buy a ticket. And you can see on the screen there, it's very faint, but all those blue dots in the upper tier, all those seats are available. So there are literally thousands of seats still available for sale, on sale tomorrow. The lower tier bits are all sold out. They went first, of course, and they are the most expensive. And the front of the upper tier are sold out as well. But those back ones there, they're all for sale, and they will go on sale at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning to members of other memberships. So I think it's probably reasonably fair the way it's been done. It's been well managed. those people that did log on and they've got, there's 10,000 people in front of you. It sounds horrendous, but those numbers move very, very quickly when you've got a system like Ticketmaster. So what are your thoughts, guys, on the system? Do you think it was fair? Did they get the phasing right, or should it have been any different, do you think? Now, I'm going to come to ladies first. Yasmin.
So I think away season ticket holders, because obviously if you've got an away season ticket, you have to have a season ticket as well. I think it was fair that they got priority because they're the ones who go to every match, give or take a couple. I'm a season ticket plus member as well. Obviously, when I signed up, I didn't know there was going to be any priority for any tickets. I don't think anybody knew that and signed up on that basis. I'm not overly sure whether we should have got the priority, but then we have paid more than the season ticket. So perhaps that is correct. The phase that I'm not quite 100% in agreement with is having season ticket holders and gold members at the same time.
Right.
Because there's a significant investment difference in those two things, and I think there should have been more priority for season ticket holders.
Good, thank you. Yeah, I think a lot of people would share your view, actually. I think when we talked to our source who thinks it was reasonably fair, it was a question of days and speed of getting it done and handling the 3-day block for that population, if you like. Tim, what's your take on it all?
Yes. So, firstly, take it from me, Ticketmaster are not that good at what they do. There are a lot of technical issues that Ticketmaster have been having all season and for the previous season that doesn't just affect us as a club, it affects all clubs. So there's huge amounts of work that get done by the club working with Ticketmaster, trying to help them sort out their issues. Do I think it's fair? From the little I've seen of it, I think there may be some questions to ask, and I know that we're contacting the club this week about it. We didn't do it on Friday or over the weekend because it was they would have been having so many meetings and discussions about it.
Explain who we are for people.
FAB, sorry, the fans of Library Board. We have been made aware of some people. See, the interesting thing is we've had as many people that contacted us saying they've not had any problems, it's been great, as people that have contacted us saying there are problems. So we are contacting the club this week just to get clarification on a few things. I believe for some reason the CPISA, the Crystal Palace Independent Supporters Association, decided to go public via the Athletic, I think, rather than talking to the club first. I'm not quite sure what that's going to achieve, but it seems to me, if I'm correct in what I've seen, there are more tickets available to Palace fans for the Cup semi-final than there are normally available for a home game. So when it comes to people to getting tickets, from what I've seen, and I'm not saying that there aren't problems or there aren't issues, it seemed relatively fair.
Yeah, and I think that's why, and some people have said, why didn't they have parish points in there? So I've got 12,000 parish points. Why wasn't I asked for my ticket order before someone who only had 5,000? Now, the answer to that question is simple. You don't need parish points. You don't need phases like that when you've got so many tickets available and you've got a limited window in which to sell them. So that's why points didn't come into it. Aston Villa's system is different. Aston Villa, first of all, have got more fans than us, so there will be some Aston Villa fans disappointed. And they had things like, if you went to a previous FA Cup tie and you could prove that, then you got priority in the queue. We didn't have to do that because we know that every single Crystal Palace fan that wants a ticket will get a ticket, because the point you make, Tim, 33,000 tickets available, capacity of Selhurst Park, home fans, 22,000. It's simple maths.
Plus also, but just about parish points, that is something, again, that us and the club are planning to look at, because when I can tell you now, we have Palace have got season ticket holders that haven't been to a game for 2 or 3 years, but they still keep their ticket and they still keep their points. You've got other people that got a lot of parish points, don't bother coming to games. but they're taking up spaces that could be used by people that don't have that many points that will go to games more regularly. So it's one of the ongoing discussions that we're having, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Fergus, can I come to you on this?
Yeah, I'm kind of in your camp, Ian. I think it was quite a fair process. I don't know if it was different to when we played Chelsea in the semi-final a few years ago. But what I would say is, for that first phase, when you've got season ticket holders and away season ticket holders, I would argue that you should be able to buy 2 tickets rather
Well, that would
than
have been
just
nice.
1. Yeah, but only because, you know, you're the dedicated fans, you're the ones spending your money, and you all want to sit together. You know, like you guys go to all the away games, and you've all had to buy. I mean, fortunately, you know,
we have a system.
Exactly. The person that shall remain nameless, but is able to buy tickets so you can all sit together. But yeah, that would be my only beef. And like Yaz said, maybe gold members on a Monday, so all those season ticket holders. But as it turns out, I mean, if we've got 36,000 tickets and we've only sold
33.
23, then, you know, everybody should be able to get
everyone.
And you know what? It's actually probably worked out for the ones that don't have season tickets and gold memberships, because they can log on tonight and buy 6 tickets altogether.
Well, actually, that won't be the case just yet. Hold your horses.
Right.
Hold your horses.
Okay.
That won't be the case just yet. So at the close of play tomorrow, after memberships have had their go at buying a ticket each, then the club will announce what's happening to the remaining tickets. That's my understanding of what will happen. And then what they might do is then come to season ticket holders saying, guys, if you want another 1 or 2, then you can buy them. Yasmin.
I just want to say that one of the things that people have been upset about as being in the same phase as the gold is that a gold member can then have got a seat in the lower tier, but by the time they went, there wasn't. And I can understand that being upsetting.
Yeah.
Obviously, as long as you're there, that's all that counts in the long run. But I do think they have a point there.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so that's where we are at the moment on the phasing and the ticketing. Most people have got their tickets. Congratulations if you've got yours. If you're a member and you're looking to jump on tomorrow at 10 a.m., please be patient. It might look horrendous. There might be lots of people in front of you in the queue, but it does move very, very quickly. And then once you're in the system, there's no limit. You don't get timed out. You can stay in the system almost as long as you like to get your transaction completed. So be patient. And I know that the majority of people are buying online, which is the right way of doing it. But there are a few that don't do online stuff. And please be patient with the box office staff. They're doing their best. They don't employ more people. It takes time to train someone to do the job in the box office. Just because we've got a big cut match doesn't mean they've got more staff on or anything like that. So please be patient with the guys and girls in the box office if you're talking to them either on the phone or in person. Tim.
Yeah, and also don't be fooled by these sites that say they've got tickets available. They're tout sites. They don't have tickets. It's impossible for them to get tickets, even if they say they've got them. Don't waste your money. Don't get caught by it, because you'll just lose it.
Yeah, I think there will be some tout tickets out there, and we've seen them on certain third-party sites at hundreds and hundreds of pounds for a semi-final ticket. Hopefully no one has to resort to that, because there should be enough to go around for everyone, as we've already said. Okay, good. So between now and then, we have a lot of football to play, because, as we've already said, we go to Newcastle on Wednesday evening for another Premier League game. The games come thick and fast. Now, this is the rearranged league fixture from the weekend of the Carabao Cup final, but Newcastle were obviously in and won. Sky Sports have picked it up. It is on Sky Sports, so if you're not travelling, you'll be able to watch it. It's a 7:30 kickoff. And then that's followed by Bournemouth at home, 3 p.m. on Saturday in the Premier League. A kind of game we'd really target to get 3 points in. And then this is the one that I suppose disappoints many people, the Arsenal game. The fact that it's been scheduled in here the week of the semi-final. 3 days, just 3 days before the semi-final. Villa have also got a league match that midweek. They play on the Tuesday, so they get an extra 24 hours. But we go to Arsenal. We've seen how good Arsenal can be against the likes of Real Madrid. And, of course, they've got their second leg against Real Madrid this midweek away in Spain. And you know, the Arsenal game is also on Sky, 8 p.m. kickoff in North London. And then, of course, comes the big one, the FA Cup tie. If you're not going, it is on BBC One. Who's not going? Everyone watching this podcast will be going to this game at Wembley, and it should be a brilliant day out. Just a few points about the Wembley game that we touched on last week. Unfortunately, the boat trip has been cancelled because a few groups have dropped out. It doesn't make it viable for this particular game. So if you're hoping to go on that boat trip, you would have been in contact with Grant Saunders, or he would have contacted you, and that's been cancelled. But he does have balloons, lots of balloons, red and blue balloons. So if you want some balloons, get in touch with Grant, and he can send them your way. Then after that, we host Nottingham Forest in the Premier League, another game on Sky on a Monday night. And then the Tottenham game, it says to be confirmed there. It's still at 3 o'clock on Saturday, the 10th of May. But if Tottenham progress in the Europa Cup, Europa League, whatever it is, if they progress past Frankfurt in the quarterfinal, then that game will be moved to the Sunday of that weekend. And the reason, of course, the Arsenal game is where it is because of Arsenal's continuation in the Champions League. They'll have the weekend off of the semi-final. But if they do get past Real Madrid, which it looks like they probably will now after their first leg, then they'll have a semi-final to look forward to after that one. So how are we going to get on up in the northeast, Yaz? Are we going to get the wheels back on the bus, so to speak, on Wednesday night? What do you think?
I'd hope so, but after watching them today, I'm not that confident. It's a hard place to go, especially with us so far away from the team as well. You can't have the impact that we can sometimes have at away games. I think it's going to be really difficult.
What's your score prediction then?
Hopefully a draw, maybe 2-2.
I was going to say that. I was going to say that. You can go 2-2. That's all right. That's okay. Tim, score prediction up in the northeast. What's it going to be?
2-1 Newcastle.
Okay, a defeat for you, Ferg. It looks like we're keeping you awake, mate. You know, you're right.
Well, it's just thinking about it because you know I always go 2-1 Palace, but I'm just going to say 2-1.
2-1. Okay. Okay.
Wait till I see your brother.
Well, one thing we are looking forward to, yes, we're looking forward to seeing producer guy Nigel up there, who lives up in the northeast. Nigel will be there with all these northeast Eagles and all that kind of stuff. So we look forward to that, seeing Nigel up there. And we do thank Nigel, of course, for producing the show. He does a great job for us. Yaz, so when we play Bournemouth next Saturday, we're going to beat them?
Yes, I think we'll beat Bournemouth. I think it will be 2-1.
2-1, okay. Tim, Bournemouth game?
3-1.
And Fergus?
Yeah, I think we'll win. It's our last Saturday 3 o'clock kickoff, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. It will be. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the final's 3 o'clock kickoff, isn't it?
Premier League. He's talking about Premier League at fellows. Yeah.
Yeah, 2-1.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a draw on Wednesday, 2-2, and a 2-0 win at home to Bournemouth at the weekend. Okay. Well, look, I think we're going to leave it there. We're just about an hour. It's been great having Yasmin on, Tim, and Fergus. I think I'm back in the chair next Sunday, Easter Sunday, when we're going to be talking about both these games, 8 p.m. I still need a panel for that one. So if you fancy coming back, guys, then you're very welcome. So thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And we'll see you again next time. Have a good week.
Not all.
Bye, everyone.
Not all. At the Palace.